Who is Sunset Rollercoaster? Let's go. The year was 2024, which is this year. It's not that long ago, literally this year. Our boy RM dropped his first track from his album, Right Place, Wrong Person, called Come Back to Me. I came across the Rolling Stone magazine article where he talks about the people that helped him write and produce the song, and that's the first time I saw the name Sunset Rollercoaster. Sunset Rollercoaster is a Taiwanese band known for their dreamy synth pop sound, but how did they get on an album with one of the biggest musical artists of all time? Let's find out. The year 2009 was an exciting one. Barack Obama became the 44th president and the first black person to hold the office. The king of pop passed away. Usain Bolt sets the record for the 100-meter dash. Avatar the movie is released, having the highest opening weekend gross for a non-franchise, non-sequel, and being the fastest movie to gross $2.5 billion. Bitcoin was created. Neymar made his professional debut for the team Santos. A little show named Glee premiered, and the iPhone 3GS was dropped on us. Taipei is our setting in this story. In the same year, Taiwan saw the establishment of the Communist Party of the Republic of China. They were hit by Typhoon Marakat and they hosted the World Games. In the midst of all this, there was a small indie music scene brewing in Taipei. Underground clubs were the places to hang and play music for the youth, and that's where Sang Kuo Hung, Kevin Lee, and Lo Zung Long decided to form their band Sunset Rollercoaster. It's actually pretty cool how they came up with their name. In the app photo booth, there was a preset of a roller coaster where you could take a picture, and in the back there was a sunset. They used that picture on their MySpace, thus the name Sunset Rollercoaster. The band drew inspiration from the scene, and the club The Underground was like the CBGBs of Taipei. There was a lot of diversity in the music, such as indie pop, blues, and noise, which I didn't even know noise was a genre. I just thought it was the kind of music I made. The biggest influences came from Ned Dehaney and Antonio Carlos Jobim. Of the three members, Sang Kuo Hung, or Kuo, is a leader, and he's the one that tends to do all the interviews. One of the unique things about Sunset Rollercoaster is that they sing in English. Kuo has spoken about singing in Mandarin, but since it's his primary language, he talks about being insecure about singing in his actual native tongue. Having learned how to speak English from watching Sesame Street, Kuo mentions that when he sings in English, he doesn't have to worry about being politically correct or worry about how people are going to take his lyrics. Without any cultural burden, he can say whatever he wants. Taipei definitely shaped us, but I can't really describe how it was. Maybe it's the noise of the scooters, the afternoon rain in the summer, the humid air, all the drunken nights with friends in the street parks of Taipei. They've all done their parts and sneakily fused in our music. In 2021, after finding themselves on Summer Sonic, playing with the likes of The Strokes, Mars Volta, Simple Plan, Avril Lavigne, Korn, and Ziggy Marley, they dropped their first album named Bossa Nova. The 60s-70s garage band sounding album has a mixed sound of Arctic Monkeys and the Beatles' White Album. It seemed like everything was looking up, and then all of a sudden, it all came to an end. Immediate success can be a blessing, but sometimes it could be a curse. The pressure of this quick success, along with creative differences, led to the band taking a break. The lack of comfort in their sound led each member to spend time on their side projects. During this time, Kuo said that he worked as a session musician and toured with a local pop star, changing perspective from being a garage band musician to a professional and playing music as a job, not just with friends having fun. Kuo spent this time molding his sound, which is apparent when he put the band back together after he was exempt from military service because of his eyesight. In 2016, the band returned, and even though the name was the same, the lineup changed. Sang Kuo Hung remained the leader, guitarist, and vocalist. Now on bass, he had Hung Lee Chen and Chao Huang Wang on keyboard, as well as Hao Ting Huang on saxophone and percussion. I know I'm butchering these names, I'm sorry. With the new members, also, you get a new sound. The first project to hit the airwaves was the Jinji Kikko EP. You can clearly hear the difference in the sound as they spent part of the hiatus listening to jazz, blues, and 60s and 70s R&B like Motown. Influences like the Isley Brothers, Jamiroquai, and P-Funk. A tragic story of love that doesn't last forever, where the lovers find that they can travel in time and go back to a place where love consumed every fiber of their being. The story is told from the girl's perspective, and her name is Jinji Kikko. At first, there wasn't much buzz, but then the EP caught fire on the internet. When a user named Alana Cheryl uploaded the song My Jinji, which is currently at 16 million views with over 104 million listens on Spotify. While the Jinji Kikko EP was a call to the world that they should take notice of the band, critical acclaim came with the drop of their next project. In 2008, they released Casanova. The album is the male perspective of the story told by the female character in the Jinji Kikko EP. Reminiscent of the Doobie Brothers as a fool believes in Hall & Oates, this album continues the vibe and really takes the sound to another level. This is where the band breaks from the internet's hidden treasure to mainstream success. The band won a Golden Melody Award for the video of the song Slow, which is Taiwan's equivalent to the Grammy. The band also won an award at the 2018 9th Golden Indie Music Awards. The main influence on the album were Prince, Damn Funk, Goosey and Curves, Gigi Mason, Terry Riley, Sugi Otis, Ned Dehaney. This year also has a rare achievement for a Taiwanese band that sings in English. They played in a show that was headlined by Daddy Yankee. 2019 brought the release of Vanilla Villa, a story about an alien who has fallen in love with a human and wants to take her to a villa for some lovin'. The thing about this EP is that it's only 3 songs and barely over 7 minutes. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Now you can say that's exactly what they did with Jinji Kikko EP, which is just 3 songs, but that was about 17 minutes long. So this was, substantially shorter. However, what this album lacked in length, it made up for in substance. The 3 songs are vastly different, but they fit so well together. You go through a turbulent journey where it starts off slowly, it picks up in speed just to get brought back down to earth smoothly. And the 3rd song has some pretty provocative lyrics, either that or I'm a perv, but we'll just go with the former. So the cool thing about this EP is that it dropped a visual. So there's basically a video that is of all 3 songs. And it's disorienting, weird, but very artsy and really cool. I suggest you guys go check it out. It stars Taiwanese artists Zhu Ji, Huang Ziji, Song Boei, and Zhu Gongham, and Zhang Ganchen. I know I butchered them names, I'm sorry. It shows the guys showing up to a house, hanging out, eating, showing emotions together and separately, and one of them has antennas. There's a bald guy who seems to be going through it, and then the 2 other guys just seem to be there as part of the band. Also, there's a guy who seems to be like a ghost demon type character that has some type of influence on the other characters. What the scope of that influence is kind of unclear, but either way, he's there. Honestly, it's just a very trippy video. This year, the band was able to share the stage with some heavyweights in music. Sia, Weezer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Cure, Janelle Monáe, David Craig, The Chemical Brothers, Jason Mraz, Death Cab for Cutie, and The Fray. The next year, 2020, they dropped an album called Soft Storm. At this time, Kuo said that he was bored making the same music over and over again. He mentions that the band is a bunch of music nerds. They were obsessed with finding the right sound, and this album's sound was more about growing up and going for a deeper feeling. The first thing you'll notice about the album is that it's very synth heavy. While you can still hear the band's signature sound, you could tell that the synth plays center stage in this album. Now this is the second time that they've changed their sound, and that speaks to the talent of the band, because every time they change, it only enhances their sound. Now this is pretty impressive because the sophomore slump is a real thing. A lot of bands, when they drop their second album, is when they fall off, not being able to capture what they find on that first album. Sunset Rollercoaster has now changed their sound twice and have been able to just top themselves. Now, the cool thing about this album is that Kuo got to work with his idol Ned Dehaney, but because of COVID, they were only able to work on one song, Overlove. On this album, they also had a feature from Ohyuk, from South Korean band Hyukoh, and a sign of what was to come. The inspiration for the album and the name was typhoons. Being from Taiwan, where typhoons are really common, they mentioned that it's part of their childhood memories and everything that came with them, like power shortages and as children feeling safe near loved ones during the fearful times. They mentioned that 2020 felt like a storm, and they used music to stay connected and to look for a brighter future. In the next 3 years, they drop a lot of singles and EPs, some with notable collabs, including Kuo playing the guitar on RM's single, Come Back to Me. And that leads us to their most current project, AAA, with band Hyukoh. I have to say, I love this album. I've never heard 2 rock bands be able to fuse sound so perfectly and where the project actually makes sense. The album has a great mix of indie and soft rock, and both their styles just perfectly muse together. The whole project just screams art, from the music to the video to the merch. I truly believe this is one of the best albums I've heard. Sunset Rollercoaster is one of the best bands I've ever heard, hands down. The story is so interesting, and I'm so happy that I looked into RM's song Come Back to Me. Being someone who still writes music and has dabbled in producing, I love kind of seeing the behind the scenes of who helps with what. And I love that I did that because it brought me to this band. And honestly, I really do love their music, and I feel that you should check them out. Thank you.